off with some adept alchemy. And, well, here is, well, the three principles, the four elements plus the elements. What does that mean? Well, what I've deciphered from my experiments with electrolysis or electrochemistry, Alchem, salt being the key electrolyte needed, and what they call sulfur and mercury. And in fact, the red and the yellow, the active anode and your cathode, your positive and negative current going in. And that on your cathode side, aka your mercury, you have fire and air. What is that? That's fire is plasma, air is gas. So that's the two highest states of matter, or phases of matter. And then you have on the opposite side earth and water, your solid and liquid, the other two denser states of physical matter. So right there, it's the four states of elements, not the four elements plus the elements. And it's, well, it is plus the elements. It's the four states of matter, the four phases of the elements plus, well, the alchemical, well, all the elements of the periodic table, all elements. So they knew of these elements, and they had symbols for each one. And what were these symbols, or this language, was a how do you say it? Not just a pictographic language, but it's a physics. It's the electrochemistry, the forces, the way the energy moves, the way the matter rises and forms and takes its solid state. And that it's a, it's on the tip of my tongue. My apologies. It will come to me. But the point being, it is highly advanced. This is physics, chemistry, and also astrology, because they had in, as a key part of the alchemical principles and laws, they have the planets and the metals, and that they tied the sun to gold, the moon to silver, Mercury to mercury, another name for mercury back in the day being quicksilver, Venus to copper, Mars to iron, Jupiter to tin, and Saturn to lead. And that in my own experiments so far, I have found that the rate and production level of monoatomic silver in the electrolysis process is directly tied to the phase of the moon. When the moon is waxing and waning, it produces very little monatomic silver. When it is a full moon or a supermoon, it produces an abundance. I've also found that gold is tied to the sun. During the day, you get the nice white fluffy monoatomic gold. When you produce it at night, it turns into this black nanomaterial. And that, well, that's definitely not what you want. You want the pure white, and it seems to only form during the day and then oxidize or form into other isotopes or other chemical combinations when the sun is below the surface of the Earth. So very fascinating stuff. Ties into the work of Bob Grenier and the neutrinos and so many other of the sun and the moon, and that there's real science behind all of this. And all right, so I guess we've covered the moon, the sun. So we got to start doing experiments with the position of Mars and how iron reacts, and the position of Venus and how copper reacts. Good question, Josh. I have yet to consciously do so. And that I've been planning and organizing all of my future silver and gold electrolysis experiments specifically to the cycles and positions of the sun and moon. And that, yes, I will try my next experiment with the sun and the moon both being out and full at the same time, especially when I make the monoatomic gold silver combination, which I believe is the philosopher's stone, because in many ancient alchemical drawings of what they call the philosopher's stone, you have a pond of water with two snakes or two vines going up into it, with one head being the sun representing gold, the other head being the moon representing silver. And thus, well, you add electricity, that snake, that vine being that electrical current, giving your anode and cathode, creating those monoatomics. It seems to be what I believe could be the philosopher's stone. And an interesting aspect of that is that so far, when I've tried making it, it gives off a very toxic odor, unlike anything else I've ever experienced in any of the other metal electrolysis experiments and reactions that I've done. And that you bring up a very interesting point with that, and that I will have to try to do it when it is both a full moon and sun, or during a lunar or solar eclipse. Good call on that. I have done an experiment before where during a lunar eclipse, I streamed it live with the alien scientist Mark Sokol at Falcon Space, was also doing experiments with crystallization of bismuth and stuff, but that I set up the electrolysis of silver anode, silver cathode. It was full moon, right, going into the eclipse, and that it was producing a whole bunch of the material. And then as the eclipse started to proceed, it literally started to slow in its production rate at the height of the eclipse, completely stopping the production of the monatomic silver. And then as the eclipse ended, it got back to its high rate of production. And that, yeah, that was quite something else. I'm going to have to reproduce that experiment again, as I don't think it was taken that serious, but the implications are very serious indeed and far reaching, and that it connects to, like I said, the work of Bob Grenier and several others that have looked into exactly this, right? The energy being directly tied to it 100%. It's very, very fascinating stuff. And with silver being a high conductor, but the rumors of like this cold energy, cold light, especially cold light from the moon, potentially, is it tied to silver? And there's just, it opens up so many different cans of worms that need to be scientifically explored. All right, moving on from the principles of your anode and cathode in the salt water, and there's a line right through the middle. And what really caught me and made me understand the three principles was in my own electrolysis experiments, there would be this exclusion zone line that would form between the monatomic or ormus at the top and the monatomic ormus at the bottom, and this little exclusions zone between the two, just like it shows with the salt there. Moving on. Wavelengths of light and how little we can see, right? Like the visible light, so little that humans can actually visually see and, and just below our visible light, you get emotional wavelength. Very, very interesting labeling here. And that could that be the aura, your light of your emotion, and that if you can expand the spectrum of wavelengths of light that you can see, that you could indeed potentially see the emotion of humans, aka their aura, the light that they emit when experiencing different emotions. And the ultraviolet, blue, purple on one aspect, and ultra red on the opposite spectrums of what humans can visibly interpret and see. All right, now we got the first of many, many Walter Russell diagrams that we will be trying to go over here, and the all-encompassing aspects of what Walter Russell depicts and understands and understood, and that it truly is a more complete understanding of a unified field theory, or a unified theory of everything and energy within our universe, and that there's also consciousness connected to it, motion, your heat energy, your lights, your elements, gravity, and music, harmonics, all connected to this unified field theory of everything. And Walter Russell being able to visualize and then manifest, draw, and just publish all of this intense geometric dimensional understandings over 100 years ago, before the existence of computers or anything digital. He was able to depict and just document amazing next level understandings and dimensional figures, including and incorporating light, sound, geometry, motion, heat, consciousness, and so much more. It's just absolutely phenomenal work that is beyond underappreciated. It's completed in 1958. High pressure short waves, low pressure long waves, Bar magnet has 4 pairs of poles, not 1 pair. Walter Russell, 1960 or 80, maybe? I'm not sure. More likely 60. Universal mathematics. Very, very key, and how he includes the harmonic scale, the octave scale, within everything. Oh, see, all motion is expressed in waves. Therefore, must all dimensions be measured within waves. Distance dimensional of tonal relations to all other mass. All potential of energy is active orderly displacement of inactive inertia, the ratios of which are measurable in all dimensions. Very, very interesting. On that math to nitrogen condensation in superstate, the magnet half the mass of a neodymium magnet cores fools when no, or if you line the core in some chunk alignment, the same field way increase the magnetic Gauss. I'm very special one. I found it back at school. Can do whole galaxy math in your hands. Curvature and explain why ring galaxy math are to the faster speed that way. Interesting, Troy. Shout out Angel Wings 222 to you, and wishing you a blessed day, sister. Hope you are well. Yeah, I gotta agree with that, Josh. Can't be talking about it, or I'll get taken down by the algorithms. And Josh, that is because I'm streaming on 2 channels currently. All right, back to Walter Russell diagrams. Oh no, here we got planetary harmonic spectrum. Interesting. Why is it in such low resolution? Boo. I have to find a higher res version of that chart. Lock potentials and VBM. 2 waves meet at amplitude 9. All right, very interesting. We got the flex mathematics plotted out onto a wave like that. Oh, a very famous, or now famous, Isaac Newton alchemical page, but that is Latin. Got to get the translated copy. More Rodin vortex mathematics. Interesting. Golden ratio magnetic regardless of magnet shape, field conjugation is identical. Field conjugation, something. Oh, we got it. It's a Ken Wheeler mathematics here. Diagram. All right. Like it. And now back to Walter Russell. Right. 1959. Dimensional lighting. Fusion foci. Interesting. Okay. So this is the octave chart for his vortex spiraling periodic table. diffraction wave pattern on axis of lens. Nature's 9 pairs of gravity poles. Fascinating. Wave geometry. Is just exquisite. It's pretty mind-bending, to say the least, and code and structure. Another major aspect of Walter Russell's universal law. And of course, also including consciousness, one mind, all the way down to matter. And that's partly why I guess it's not taken as serious as it should be, was that there's a lot of taboo topics or metaphysical aspects or consciousness and the philosophical subjects that you think, but that's reality. If you want a unified theory of everything, well, it's got to include everything, and that's including consciousness, uh, uh, life in our reality, including music. And we have Walter Schauberger's. Oh, see, I didn't know Schauberger had a periodic table as well, and that it's also vortex based. Fascinating. Then the Walter Russell periodic table. Yeah, Angel Wing, a stream if you're available, and or Monday, Tuesday, depending. I shall email you or email me, and we will figure this out because we need to get an episode. This you're getting images and constant videos of the orbs. That's amazing, and we got to get it out there. All right. So, one, the loops of force, always the inversed and introverted vortexes, vortices being a key part of universal motion. And here we have one of Walter Russell's of these different diagram charts showing and how he's separating the alkalines from the acidics, non-metals or salts. Of that one, and my camera has blurred me for some reason. Ooh. There we go. Closer. Keep focusing. Camera. No. What else do we have to look at? This chart. This chart is something else. Oh. No, still not going to focus. Strange. All right. The chart. Voice keeps going in and out as well. Yeah, I think I'm having buffering issues. Connectivity for some reason. Me divulging this information apparently. How's it all frozen? Can you still hear me? Are we here? Maybe we'll just turn off the camera for a minute. And here we are. This is from the Rosicrucian order. A very mysterious, occult, powerful. This chart was carefully completed by the editorial and research department of the AMORC College after consulting the most what does that say? It's freezing on me. Something authorities on the subjects of physics and chemistry, and comparing their observations and notations with the reports from the Rosicrucian laboratories in foreign countries. Consistent scientific authorities. There we go. Consistent scientific authorities. Was the words I missed. There is a slight disagreement in regard to the rates of vibration for the various keys of the musical keyboard due to different standards of pitch in various countries, and there is some disagreement among scientific authorities in regards to the colors attached with various musical notes. This chart represents not only the consensus of most of these countries' authorities, but also adheres strictly to what the physicists have been able to demonstrate through in the laboratories and in experiments of this thing stated of members of various parts of the world. Nevertheless, therefore, of any disagreements with authorities outside the organizations, this chart is the authentic representation of the Rosicrucian knowledge. This chart is to be used by the members of the Rosicrucian order in connection with their studies and experiments, and is not to be used for any other purposes or in any other way, like the lessons themselves. This chart and these facts contain within our several, my bad. All right, so at the time it was made by the Rosicrucian order with the highest scientific authorities of the world, of the countries. And it has to do with vibrational frequencies and tones, aka the resonant frequency. And you have octaves, and the manifestation, vibration per second, electromagnet, sound, touch. So you get solid, you get sound, electromagnet light, electromagnet something, heat, or infrared. Oh, microscopic, that was visible light, ultraviolet, X-ray, gamma and cosmic rays, and down here, vibrations in the octaves increase to an incomprehensible number per second. The phenomena of psychic, right? What? Say that again. The phenomena of psychic preconditions and sound experience occur from octaves considerably beyond the of any known material manifest. What? Consequently, they cannot be considered at a material following only manifestation, which we have shown on this chart. Interesting. So gamma and cosmic rays, the level of soul existence. You have psychic projection, you have spirit electron. So look at that. At ultraviolet, they have spirit electrons. And at above X-ray, your psychic projection, and above that at your gamma and cosmic rays, your soul existence. And that was formed as a consensus of the Rosicrucians and all the scientific authorities and physicists of the time, that this chart and study was made. Where's the year? I think I have another copy. See, it's cut off the bottom here, but I believe I have another copy where it actually says the year. I think this was from the 60s, maybe the 70s. Fascinating stuff, regardless. All right, now we're back to some Walter Russell, the universe breath as mankind does. Oh, dear, all my different browsers are crashing. Am I still here? Yes, hopefully, right? And all being supposedly the spiritual, the aura, and cobalt glasses being able, or lenses being able to help show and see the aura, or the Carillion frequency, as it is also called. I suspect the Carillion frequency, the actual Hertzian frequency, is probably in the ultraviolet range or just below it. Gonna have to look into that. All right, so we are 40 minutes in. Wow, that's a decent amount of Bernie talking. But right here we can see also Walter Russell, including Saturn, Venus, and Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, the Moon, and Sun, in part of his law, and magnetic flow, and the cosmic pendulum. And these spiral aspect octaves are another part of his different periodic tables. Interesting. Not sure what we're looking at here. Stargates of PKA, 24 elders before the throne. Interesting. Not sure where I found that one, but fascinating. More Walter Russell. Therefore, we again say to you that the measure of your power to find happiness, peace, prosperity, and glory in masterly achievement lies in the measure of your knowledge of God's ways and your desire to make God's ways your ways. Oh, that's not a bad saying at all. I kind of like that. Just make sure your God is the right God and not the devil in disguise. Gravitation is the inward breathing which vitalizes all bodies of matter as it polarizes them. Radiation is the outward breathing which devitalizes and depolarizes them. Matter emerges from space because of the polarizing power of gravitation and is swallowed up by space because of the depolarizing relaxation of power by radiation. Interesting. The wave shaft is the still center of a whirlpool of motion. Okay. Another periodic table that is a spiral form. What's this? Not sure. I believe like Norwegian or Swedish dudes or something at the time. All right. His Walter Russell's most famous vortex spiral periodic chart of elements, and another chart of elements in a spiraling manner, including the octaves and the energies of them, and all very relative. Fluorine polyhedron. Fascinating. Thinking, knowing, thinking, your equator. More Walter Russell metaphysical aspects of the consciousness of mind, the divine trinity, and why modern science can't handle taking a look at the real physics and the real mathematics that are included within his spatial geometry, wave optics series, and hydrogen probability density. This is way more recent, but just as fascinating, something I need to do full episodes on, and has to do with quantum dimensions, the dimensional ionization of hydrogen and isotopes. As there's just so much to it, a lot to it, that I just can't do it justice right now, and need to study more into it before fully covering it. The 8 corner projectors of universal radar broadcasting stations. God's end of the cosmic bridge where motion begins, its projection into space to stimulate mind idea. Walter Russell. I think just his dimensional geometric shading and drawing, it's just above its time, timeless, really. Oh, here we got an ancient alchemical system that looks almost identical to Walter Russell's chart. Very fascinating. Scarab hieroglyph. Interesting. Definitely gonna have to go back and look at that more in detail later. All things are involved in all things. Yes, the universal law of one. Analysis of the harp string. All motion is curved and all curvature is spiral. Light and sound are one. Gravity multiplies, divides, and balances light and sound. Opening and closing spirals constitute the heartbeat of the universe. For fusion, the spiral closes. For fission, the spiral opens. Gravity and light. Gravity and sound. Fascinating. Very fascinating. I believe this is a Dan Winters model of golden ratio. Here we have Walter Russell's original periodic table, separated by the octaves, as well as the vortex-based geometry of it, 1926. And he predicted several elements that had yet to be discovered, as well as several isotopes and particles and subparticles, and that this needs to be looked at much more in depth, probably fed into AI to be compared to what modern science has found and acknowledged. And I bet there'll be some additional discoveries and confirmations. Here we have the first octave of the periodic table of his elements. First octave, where's the second octave? Third octave. Fourth octave. And so right here you have hydrogen beginning. So it's in between the third octave, where this is the first element within the perception of man, is in the third octave. So all the way down for the first 2.5 octaves, he's saying there's elements or particles that are below the perception of humanity and our third dimension. Quite interesting indeed. Some Ken Wheeler diagrams. What is this one? Is this one a Walter Russell, or is this like a Sonora Aero Club? Doesn't look like a Russell signature. Fascinating. Gonna have to look at that in depth more later too. Cathode compression, anode expansion. Very, very fascinating, interesting diagram here by Walter Russell, and that it connects into his dimensional octave lensing that we saw earlier. Here we have another explanatory chart of the elements and periodic table of this arch octave system. Tonal mates of maximum stability. Stability or instability is the relative willingness of elements and compounds to come into association with each other, and their relative power of holding themselves together in combination when so joined. Every combination diagram represents maximum stability, each unit in the tonal mate of the other. Together they represent one action and reaction of the universal constant. They combine into equal quantities. Each is the exact opposite of the other, and in combination, they neutralize their opposition in unity. Note, the true tonal mate of hydrogen is not fluorine, it is helionon, an undiscovered tone in the fourth octave. Fascinating. This is the sort of stuff that needs to be run into what's the right words? The rendering software and simulations, as well as some AI analysis, I think would do this quite well. All right, we continue on. Here we have magnetic axes, Coral Castle code. I believe so. Clay Taylor, the author of this one, and I believe Jason Verbelli had a part in this. But here you've got the magnetic spectrum and vibration in every form. So magnetism is a bit of sound and color combined, and it's all mathematical ratios of waves. Another Walter Russell diagram is universal mathematics, potential ratios for rigid mass, potential ratios for freely moving masses within any system. All right, blue, indigo, violet, and you got red. Fascinating. Not sure what this is actually from. Almost looks like a plasma anode cathode, but it's magnetism. Interesting. More geometrical dimension mathematics of Walter Russell. The 9 zeros which bound the 3 projection mirrors which caused the illusion of a 3-dimensional universe. Now that is a concept I've kind of been pondering and theorizing myself for many a year, decades now, and I like this. Mechanics of the universal heartbeat, the cathode and the anode. Very interesting. See, now I'm going to have to go and apply these geometric scales onto my own anode cathode experiments and results. And I'm already seeing some correlations from like what I've already observed in my own experiments and results, that it's like this guy is bang on. And well, hopefully not centuries ahead of his time, because it is time for humanity to wake up to this universal knowledge and start applying it and breaking through. Very interesting here. But the Pythagorean, when that is magic squares that you're looking at, so that is so much more than what it's given credit for, and that what it's actually understood, and that this is the key to deciphering, creating ciphers and sigils. And it is, hey, shout out Redcap Goblin, hope you're well, my friend. Quad 10, Angel Dreams, Zajala Pinot 25, love you all. Kingpin, King, good day. But yes, Pythagoras, the magic squares, the ciphers, and that there was a new discovery recently that when they did the Pythagorean theorem squared, it plotted out to a whole new dimensional geometry that they didn't think was possible. And yeah, it's just, there's so much more to it. Okay, we are about an hour in, so at this point we're gonna take a little break. Back to part 2 of the presentation, and this is the sort of thing that really creeps the heck out of me, and where I take note and seriousness of take heed of Blake Lemoyne's warning of not feeding this information into the AI. And what we're looking at here, looking like complex circuitry, electric engineering, potentially of, well, interdimensional energies, because these are the seals of Solomon's 72 demons. But are they demons? Are they angels? Has it been inverted? Has it been distorted? Either way, I don't want to mess with the angels or the demons, but what the heck are we actually looking at? Because this is there's too much accuracy, there's too much detail, and there's too much similarity to electrical engineering symbols and circuits that these represent and depict. Like, it's absolutely wild. It's fascinating. Is Amy a demon or is Amy an angel? I don't know, but says demon. Do you dare to mess with it? Here we've got some more sigils. Karn, the King Tempter. Gracial, Haggith, Demon of Jealousy. That looks like an antenna array. Haganel, Lord under Gratchel. Hamel, Lord of Obsessions. Hanel, the Adversarial. Like Lahad, the Devil Voice. Like, very, very fascinating, interesting, and ooh, the feed locked up. Can you still hear me? Did we get cut off, or are we still live? Hopefully we are still live, and they do all look demonic. Very good. You can still hear me. And when dealing with these potential interdimensional circuits and entities and energy consciousnesses, it needs to be taken with all seriousness and caution. And the last thing you want to do is, like, that looks an awful lot like what you see on some cathedrals and stuff, and what sort of antennas you're connected into, and what sort of mini circuits your technology has running, like in your little smartphone, in our computers. Possibly, are there already these nanocircuits going on? Who knows? Fascinating things that need to be investigated. All right, here we have inertial line showing the 9th, 10th, 7th, 6th, 5th, 8th, all the octaves of the elements of matter. Another diagram of the 10-octave cycle of integrating and disintegrating light units into atomic systems called the elements of matter. Another Walter Russell diagram involving the periodic table of elements and the octave scaling system with vortex spiraling symmetry geometry. Interesting, Quad 10. I'd like to see some of them if you can still have them. A lot of individuals I know have had dreams, premonitions, visions of symbols and produced them. And well, they are real. They are these interdimensional geometric systems and potential portals. And here we have advanced alchemy, understanding Not Shirley's amazing plant to bread transmutation circle, where bread is mixed and cooked Fascinating stuff. Fusion arrays, they both fuse base elements together, form a new element. So we got transmutation happening in this process of elements, apparently while making bread. Interesting. Gonna have to look more into that. Reference guide symbols. The sun, your right hand rule in electrical engineering. The earth, four corners symbol. It is a grid, an energetic grid connected to the heavens and the earth below. And that these are both showing geometric crystal densities as well as energetic flows of electrochemistry and atomic fission fusion. And the same mathematic geometric arrays control the metaphysical conscious energy and universal grids, as well as the physical matter structure and atomic crystallization matter manifesting in yeah, it's all connected. It is all in the esoteric occult knowledge and teachings of the ancients, still used and understood by the secret societies of today that gatekeep, and anyone can channel this knowledge by meditating and connecting to their source spirits and consciousness. And that, well, Pythagorean cosmic morphology, also using the alchemical earth, water, air, fire, and the platonic solids and their density, their geometric density, I guess it's a way to put it. Oh, that's a video game. Never mind. Not sure about the accuracy of this. Yeah, no, we know Thoth was the originator, so who knows what that was. What are we looking at here? Quite the physics cheat sheet. Interesting. Some Sumerian. Sumerian, also very interesting. Now, here we have some actual layouts of some temples and cathedrals. I guess these are temples from India. And they look like macro what's the words? Type of antenna. Come to me. It is getting late. It's almost 3 a.m. All right. Well, that's why the brain's a little slow. Anywho, moving on. What I need to do and what will be interesting is plotting out the different elements, but with their alchemical symbols, and to see what they look like in representation to their placements in the different octave scales and positions of the Walter Russell geometries, and that so many of the element symbols have these vortex or these spiral shapes included with them, and then how they may interact with the other elements around them and the chemical reactions that happen between them. I suspect we will actually unlock some crucial information when connecting all of that. Westminster Abbey. Fractal antenna array. There we go. Fractal antenna arrays and resonating capacitor bank. Like, these are macro energy harvesting machines. There's no doubt about it. Fascinating stuff, and how it connects into the alchemy of the cathedrals, the electrochemistry of elements, plasma, sound, resonance, harmonics, resonant frequency. It's all part of the technology and engineering of the ancient temples, cathedrals, and holy places. All right, first octave, second octave, third, fourth. Here we go. So this is some more scaling system of Walter Russell's gravity and radiative intensity, the essential density of energetic discharge and charging of radiation and gravitation, apparently within the chemical interactions of the elements. Oh, bless your soul, Angel Wings. Thank you so much for the support. Always greatly appreciated. And please email me about your availability for us to do that interview this week and get your plasma orb experiences out there, and just some epic stuff you got to share, my friend. As always, appreciate the support. All right, comparative plans of French Gothic cathedrals. 13, 18, 15, 15. Oops. Sorry about that. Here we go. Like, complete circuits, resonating chambers, like the harmonics, just absolutely wild. And the acoustic properties, the energetic properties. That's why you're able to have these revelations and conscious elevations of spiritual experiences in these sites, is because it is actually connecting you to that energy grid and amplification. Back to another Walter Russell diagram. I believe so. Great correlation. 100%. They're most likely definitely connected, and probably we will find more parallel symbols in both. More Walter Russell vortex-based diagram mathematics. Emanation orbits. So I guess potentially the electrons. And here we have commonly used array elements symbols of alchemy, and every single one of these symbols are also symbols in electrical engineering today. Thus, they are connected. There is absolute advanced meaning within all of these, and these really, really go deep, and that this series is going to go a lot deeper into explaining, decoding, and deciphering all of the electrical alchemy. Yes, alchem, that is the root of the word, the etymology of it. Electrochemistry is alchemy. That is my understanding of it. That is what I believe to have proven within the lab, and that it has to deal with the electric universe, and that it's electric chemistry, it's electrochemistry, electrobiochemistry, and plasma, and that the ancients, that this is essentially the creator code, the source code, the galactic universal code, and the code to truly understanding cold fusion, and separated elements outside the array. And when you connect like these advanced geometries and sigil signs that get more and more geometrically complex as they go in, and then connect it, for instance, with the geometric fractal scaling of Walter Russell's that we've just gone over, you're starting to see this connected pattern of energy flow, geometry, and potential God code, dare I say, and that there's a reason this knowledge has been so guarded, suppressed, and classified essentially throughout the ages, is because of the true power held within it. And it does unlock the magic, the eternal magic within us all. And why I stress so much the peril you can put yourself into when dealing with the angels and demons and other entities, and that is how so many of the brilliant minds throughout the ages also seemed to be sometimes possessed, sometimes insane, crazy. Why is that? Well, it's because they might not have been themselves. They're out of their minds. Why? Because something else took over. the mind and possessed, and that throughout the ages, the church held the monopoly on the what we now call and treat with psychology and psychologists, but it's also the spiritual and soul connectivity as well, the sovereign within each individual conscious spiritual being in this realm, and your connection to your source consciousness, the higher intelligence creator that connects us all, and the other fractals of higher dimensional consciousness and entities that exist in the duality below the source, which has both good and evil, and that you do not want to unleash the demons within yourself, and that they are tricksters. They're known for tricking and making you think that they're an angel, but are they really, or are they taking control? And thus my disclaimer: do not ever mess with these or anything like it, because it's real. Okay. To some, you might have cognitive dissonance, or it might go outside your worldview. Nonetheless, execute extreme caution when dealing with anything like this. And if you encounter circuits like this anywhere, well, it's probably demonic, because these sigils, thousands of years old, and there's a reason they've been kept and used and guarded. And yeah, it's there's more layers to our worlds, our dimensions, our existence, and there's definitely the spiritual layer, dimension that exists, that connects our consciousness and the other realms that are out there. All right. On that note, we are just about 2 hours in, and every single line, every single dot have meaning, and usually multiple. And that's why symbols are so powerful, because a picture is worth 1,000 words, and every symbol is a pictographic letter with multiple meanings. And that's what we have in the ancient alchemy pictographic symbol language, the oldest language used and documented throughout all of humans' civilizations, from Babylon, from the Indus Valley, from China, from Europe, everywhere. Always used in the secret societies, the occult, and still to this day, also still being used by the occult, whether in the Vatican, whether in Freemasonry, and, well, trying to decode it and put it into real science. Today, that is my goal and purpose. And are these the angels or also demon seals? I think these are the angels, but could be wrong. Could just be another copy of the demons. I don't know. That's why you got to be careful. That's why you don't mess with these entities and sigils and circuits, because that's what, well, you don't want to get. You don't want to be possessed. Okay. Enough of that. Love you all. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Ta-ta.
You crazy mother. Yeah. It's just fun.